Hey, you're listening to Ty Bollinger of CancerTruth.net. You're also listening to Justin and Kate with Extreme Health Radio. These guys are great. Enjoy listening to them. I always do.
Welcome to Extreme Health Radio. Extreme Health Radio.
Where natural solutions to almost every health condition are out there. Join us on our journey to find them.
Now here are your hosts,
Broadcasting from sunny Southern California around the world.
Justin and Kate Stellman.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here on another edition of Extreme Health Radio. We're honored to be here with you today. Today we have an amazing interview with
Professor.
I almost said doctor again.
I know you did.
The world's leading professor in, what was it?
Physiologic EFAs, Brian Peskin.
Brian Peskin, physiological EFAs. This is going to be an awesome show because everything that you know about health is probably going to be attacked today. So this is always
a
good thing. So stay tuned. We'll introduce Professor Brian Peskin in just a moment. My name is Justin, and this is my wife,
Kate. Hello, everyone.
And we are broadcasting worldwide from Southern California. So thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you're having a good day wherever you are in the world. We do shows 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So it's really a lot of fun to bring these shows to people. We just have so much fun doing this. It's awesome. And if you'd like to follow what we're doing and keep up to date with our shows, our schedule, all that good stuff, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/Facebook, click the like button, and join our community. And we'd love to have you a part of that. It'd be a lot of fun.
We would.
And for reference, today is Thursday, August 15th. Golly, 2013. We're already halfway through August.
I know.
It's amazing. I can't believe how time flies. Anyway, this is episode number 140. So you can go to extremehealthradio.com/140 and you can check out the transcription. And
I'll take some show notes for you.
Kate will take show notes. And if you'd like to join the show, there's a number of different ways you could do that. We'd love to have you a part of it. You can email me, Justin, at extremehealthradio.com or
Kate, Kate, at extremehealthradio.com.
Or you could send a voicemail to us. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/voicemail, you can record a voicemail for our guest or for us straight from your computer. So
nifty little feature there.
Yeah, it's a great little feature.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you do that. And if you guys make any purchases on Amazon, we would love it if you would support us by making your purchases through us on Amazon. So if you go to our website /Amazon, you can be redirected over to Amazon and make your purchase there. We'll get a little 5% commission. That will help pay the phone bill and everything else here.
Keep the lights on.
Keep the lights on. Looking at our upcoming schedule, we've got lots of great guests coming up. We've got Dr. Betty Martini.
Oh, right.
And she's going to be talking about the dangers of aspartame.
Mm-hmm. It's a big issue.
Yeah, thankfully we don't eat too much packaged food. So
not anymore.
Really not much at all. But that's dangerous stuff. And then we've got Astaria Venus.
That's a great name.
Yeah, that's a heck of a name. Healing with sound. So we'll be talking to her about how we can use sound for healing. And then we have Ty Bollinger, who wrote Cancer Step Outside the Box. And he's going to be talking about natural cancer treatments and that kind of stuff. So that should be a really fun show.
I love Ty.
Yeah, and today we have Professor Brian Peskin, and he has his Bachelor of Science degree from Electrical Engineering from MIT in 1979. And now he's an adjunct professor at Texas Southern University in the Department of Pharmacy and Health Sciences.
Wow.
And he's the author of The Hidden Story of Cancer, as well as The 24-Hour Diet. And his website is brianpeskin.com. And we have had, I can't tell you how many people we have had asking to have Brian Peskin on the show. So thank you so much, Brian, for being on the show today.
My pleasure. I was an adjunct professor. I'm not anymore. I just don't have the time to be at the university. But it was all research. I didn't do any teaching.
Oh, okay. It was all
I'm doing the same sort of thing. But the key point, Justin, was in the Department of Pharmacy, I walked out of nutrition. I walked out of it after interviewing the chairman. And it's an interesting story. He was on a breathalyzer, overweight. I said, doctor, how could you possibly have a problem? He's on steroids. He had a heart attack. I said, if anybody should know how not to get one, isn't it you? And I'm pointing around to the books, and the people I'm in his office with are sinking in their chair. But this is the way I am. So I walked out, saw the president, and said, I can't be with this guy. He doesn't know anything. I said, I need hard sciences, because my joke is, if you have a degree in nutrition, you're not qualified to talk about nutrition. They don't have hard science background, physiology and biochemistry, and without those two, you're never getting anywhere. And this is what I try to bring to the medical profession. State-of-the-art, 21st century medical science the docs haven't seen. As simple as that.
So they really believe in what they're doing, though, don't they?
Yes, of course they do.
Yeah.
They don't want to harm anybody knowingly. They really do try. It's just even the doctors don't know what to believe because they don't know how to analyze a study. So I'm doing a new book called PEO Solution with Dr. Robert Rowan, who's a raw foods vegan. Now, if you can picture, he's very close to it. He's not 100%. So he's close to a raw foods vegetarian. I mean, very, very close. He eats some dairy. That's about it, though. And if you can imagine a carnivore like me and a raw foods vegan writing a book together, typically they want to kill each other, right? They won't even talk to each other because they both think they're wrong. Well, the PEOs, parent essential oils, we'll talk a lot about that, are the common grounds for success regardless of your diet. And it's very, very exciting. So that book will be out the beginning of the year. And I had 2 major medical journal articles to write, and I think one of them is probably the reason you're having me on right now. It's that fish oil failed to improve cardiovascular disease in high-risk patients.
Yeah, because fish oil, like you were saying before the show, you're getting a lot of people talking about it.
I can't hear you now.
Oh, are you still there? Are you still there?
A little better.
A little bit better?
Yep, you're okay now.
Okay, excellent. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So you're saying the fish oil, you're getting a lot of people talking about it, and you've been doing this work.
It's doctors all around the world. My audience, Justin, is physicians.
Uh-huh.
I spend very, very little time, and quite honestly, my writing is very advanced. It's high-level physiology and biochemistry. So your average person is way, way, way above them. It's not their field. So I spend the time with physicians because one physician can influence hundreds of patients. So I have very limited time. I spend my time writing based on very, very advanced science, trying to make it as simple as I can make it and getting it out to the medical profession. But 99% of who I converse with throughout every day is MDs. At the end of next week, I'm lecturing to 700 MDs in Brazil at a major anti-aging conference. So it's 700 MDs, and I'm one of 7 featured lecturers.
Wow.
So do you have a lot of, I'm sure, lively discussions with Robert Rowan when you're with him, I'm sure?
It took him 5 years to come on board that fish oil is a loser. And he looked at my science, which was all theoretical for 5 years. Now, he's a doc like everybody else, and the comment is, how the heck can you be right and everybody else wrong? Well, my comment is, the stupidity of others is not my concern. Ask them. That I'm giving you state-of-the-art science. But he goes, can you measure this in a patient, in a clinical study? You know, I said, no. You'd have to do a biopsy, and, you're not going to do it. I don't know how to do it. Then a colleague from Australia sent me information on a cardiovascular arterial compliance machine, which is flexibility of the artery. You could measure it non-invasively, meaning you just put your finger in something, it sends some light through your fingernail, and through a real cool method can analyze how flexible your arteries are. When I saw this, I fell off the chair. I traced it down, came from a company in South Korea. They had a distributor in Canada. I was on the next plane, literally. Within 1 week, I was seeing them. Bought the machine, started the Iowa experiment, which stands for Investigating Oils with Respect to Arterial Health. Bottom line, after 4 months, people on fish oil stopped, converted to the parent essential oils like I'm going to talk about, and had a scan showing their biological arterial flexibility was 11 years younger.
Well, that's crazy. So what is the name of this machine, and can people get tested by this?
Yeah, they can. A lot of physicians do not have it in America, and the reason they don't have it was very simple. Okay, so your arteries are hard. There's no drug to improve it. I don't know what to do. Not lower blood pressure. That doesn't do it. It's actually making the arteries more flexible. There's no drug. This is the number one hottest thing in cardiovascular medicine today. They're all looking for something. Everybody listening is going to get the answer right now. But that's why they don't do it. Yes, it's called photoplasmography, which is volumetric, or DPA, digital analysis is what it is. And if people look at my website, they can see it. On the top left-hand corner, it's called the Peskin Primer, and this will give all the details on the machine. Most physicians, again, won't have it because they don't have a treatment. But it's the best thing in the world. Blood chemistry tells you essentially nothing about the state of your arteries. And this is the whole problem. You know, cholesterol numbers don't mean anything, and we'll talk about that. It's all in the structure. This is why most people that have a heart attack, Justin, have normal or lower cholesterol than they need. So the whole medical profession doesn't know what to do. Now they're trying to say it's anti-inflammatory with statins, and it goes on and on. It's a bunch of garbage. They don't work.
Because I've heard of people even having cholesterol levels of 300 or more.
Yeah, basically what the Framingham study showed is the higher the cholesterol level, the less problem you have. What people need to know, and then we'll talk about other things, cholesterol is the number one substance your body makes. It's ubiquitous, meaning it's in every cell there is. Critical. But what they did is they made up bad cholesterol. Never been bad in any medical physiology textbook. The word bad is never used. It is critical. If your LDL is too low, you're dead. It's real simple. There's about 12 metabolic pathways cholesterol is needed. It's in every cell membrane. If you didn't have cholesterol, you would be worm-like. You'd have no structure. So it's absolutely critical. And the damage they're doing with statins is unprecedented.
Yeah, so this whole statin thing is a huge issue, and I know you've talked a lot about it. But if people are on statins, I know we can't give medical advice here, and that's not our role, but
let me
what would you
first
suggest?
start from the beginning. I talk about parent essential oils. What the heck is that? It's a category of EFAs. Actually, they're the only true EFAs. There's two essential fatty acids. That's what EFA means.
Uh-huh.
Parent omega-3, parent omega-6, LA, ALA. One has two double bonds, one has three. All that matters is you can't get either one outside of eating food. Your body cannot make them. So if you don't have parent omega-6 and parent omega-3, and I always put the 6 first, you are in deep trouble. Have 100 trillion cells, 100 trillion. Every one of those cells has a membrane. It's actually a bilipid membrane. Half the cell is fat, half of it is protein. For all the high-carb people, there's no structural carbohydrate in a cell. There's a tad of it in there, nothing for structure. Half fat, half protein. Out of the half fat, 25% to 33% are PEOs, the parent essential oils. Mm-hmm. And on average, your body has 11 to 1 in favor of the parent omega-6. And what everybody's been told is, we're overdosing on omega-6, everything omega-6, omega-6. You need 11 to 1, number one. The average person's probably only consuming 12 to 1 to 15 to 1 tops. Furthermore, what nobody except me considers is at least half of that parent omega-6 everybody's consuming, unless you're a raw foods vegan or going very, very big on organic with everything, is adulterated. It doesn't work. Why? Walk by the fish market section of the supermarket. You'll smell the fish going bad. That's called oxidation. It's rancid. You can't have cereal, bagel, pasta smelling like fish gone bad. Nobody'd eat it, right? Nobody'd buy it. So I understand that. They have two methods that they can do. They can either rip out the oils totally, and that's where this whole low-fat thing came from, in which case you're not going to get these and be in deep, deep trouble, or they can adulterate them so they don't go bad. And every restaurant, I don't care if it's the finest high-level restaurant or a fast food restaurant, that your French fries come in, that the baking comes in, that the cakes are made with, that the frozen foods are made with, they stop the oxygen transfer.
Okay.
You go, okay, big deal. Well, your body requires the oxygen transfer. You mentioned cancer before. I started it really in 2002, heavily in cancer, and wrote the hidden story of cancer. Otto Warburg, MD, PhD, most brilliant physiologist, biochemist of the 20th century, hands down, conclusively showed 35% intermittent oxygen decrease in the cell, cancer comes spontaneously. You don't feel it. You don't see it. You don't know it's happening. Could take a decade. Was confirmed in 1953 and 1955 in America with physicians and scientists.
Uh-huh.
So 35% is close to a third. So my big contribution to the field is how the heck can a cell be deprived of oxygen? And this is not oxygen in the bloodstream from athletes. Athletes get cancer all the time.
Yes.
They get heart attacks all the time. Most people have great oxygen saturation points. And it's 96, 98% oxygen in the bloodstream. Everybody has that unless you have a disease state.
Okay.
Okay? So it had to be something regardless of the economic, socioeconomic conditions of everybody, because everybody gets cancer regardless of how wealthy they are, right? They could be poor, they could be wealthy, they're still getting cancer.
Yeah.
Dietary. And then when I started looking, what is every cell made of, when I saw half was fat, and out of that half, 25 to 33% were PEOs with on the average a pile of omega-6, and all the omega-6 is adulterated from food processing. This is the trans fats, the hydrogenated oils, the interesterified oils. There's a ton of ways to wreck their oxygen impairing capability. It was, boom, this is it. And then I proved it. So that's my big contribution to the field. If you can keep the cell fully oxygenated, you can't get cancer. Outside of walking through a radiation field or a chemical carcinogenic huge overdose, it's impossible to get. I don't know how you'd get it.
So it's really, really cool. How does the oil inside of the cell, the fat inside of the cell, increase the oxygen uptake inside?
It does two things. It allows the oxygen to flow from the bloodstream.
Okay.
So you have transfer, and it can disassociate in the cell membrane and release its oxygen. Two separate things. It releases the oxygen because when you look at the structure of parent essential oils, the omega-6, at the physiologic pressures of blood and partial pressures, it releases the oxygen. And that's what it does. So there's two ways it does it, and it's unequivocal.
So
especially with the Iowa experiment being 11 years younger than fish oil. Let me just say one more thing. We also had people that were not on fish oil. So you just measure how their artery waveform output is, and what you do is you compare it to different ages. 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. So you look at the graphs of the average people in those things based on thousands of people, and you could just match Justin to the closest one. And you're either going to be older or younger, so that's your biological age. The people taking nothing were 7 years younger with the PEOs.
Oh my
after
gosh.
about 4 months. So going from nothing, you were, say, 0, and you take them, and now you're 7 years younger. And I told you before, if you started with fish oil, you became 11 years younger. There's only one deduction. Fish oil gave you a starting point of minus 4 years compared to doing nothing.
Oh my gosh. So people that were taking...
point. And then when you look at the research, which I did, it takes 18 weeks to get rid of the fish oil's negative effects in the body. Almost 4.5 months. So our experiment was over about 4 months, which was perfectly confirming the 4 months to get rid of the damaging effects, heart disease-wise anyway, of the fish oil. It coincided perfectly. But the conclusion was you're 4 years older taking fish oil, and they're calling fish oil an anti-aging thing. And in my medical journal article, fish oil is the ultimate anti-aging. So if you're looking for anti-aging, take fish oil and dump it down the toilet, everybody. Bring that garbage back. And I want to make this very clear, Justin. It has nothing to do with the purity of the fish.
Oh,
you could be the most pristine fish in the world. It is the wrong substance. Are you living in 30-degree water? Yes or no?
I'm going to go no.
You're absolutely right. And the reason nature gave fish could only do two things. If I threw Kate into the water, 30 degrees, you're dead. Oh, hypothermia, right?
Yeah.
Give you half an hour, you're a block of ice. Nature can do two things. Load you up with alcohol, because as you know, alcohol has a hard time freezing.
Uh-huh.
But you'd have drunk fish. That's not going to fly. Or you can have long-chain metabolites like DHA, EPA of the omega-3 series. And that's what they chose. Now, you put that into a human body what the medical profession isn't aware of, spontaneous oxidation. If I take DHA EPA, put it at room temperature, it spontaneously turns rancid. Rancid is the analogy of rust forming on a piece of metal. That's inside every cell of your body. If you bring it up to 98.6, close to 100 degrees, which is body temperature, that's at 70 degrees. You put it another 25 degrees, 30 degrees higher, it's going bad immediately. Now, you do have antioxidants in your body, but you don't have enough to take care of it. And there's been experiments with monkeys. It's called lipofuscin. It's the age spots. They got those all over their liver with fish oil. It's unequivocal how bad it is. Compared to a monounsaturated, like olive oil, DHA oxidizes 320 times faster. Not 3, not 30, 320 times faster. It's going bad instantly.
Wow.
Now, I know you need to take a break real soon, but just think about why on earth would anybody think they're part fish? Look in the mirror. If you don't see something with gills looking back at you, you better really reevaluate what the heck you're doing.
I love it. Yeah, I want to get back to some of the heart disease and things, and I also had a couple questions about how the oxygen transfer into the cell, but we'll talk about that after the break. We're with Professor Brian Peskin. I keep wanting to say Professor Brian Peskin.
You don't need another doctor. You need a professor, because I lecture doctors.
This is true.
They don't have the answer. I do.
I love it. And his website is brianpeskin.com. We'll link it up on this show page, which is extremehealthradio.com/140. And we'll be right back with the professor after this short break. So this morning when I was making my green smoothie, I was finishing up going through the Healthy Baby Code program by Chris Kresser, because my wife and I, Kate, are planning on having a child. And so we're doing a lot of detoxification and cleansing prior to conception. And this Healthy Baby Code, I was going through the final Q&A course or questionnaire that he had in audio format. And it's really, really good course. If you're looking to get pregnant or want to get pregnant, or if you're struggling with infertility issues, or if you have questions about how to have a home birth or a natural birth, these are all things that Chris Kresser covers in this Healthy Baby Code course. And you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/babycode, or you could check it out in our store for more information. But it's really, really a great program, and I highly suggest any expecting mother to get this. He really lays it out, how important having a healthy pregnancy is. It comes with 5.5 hours of video. It comes in audio as well. There's hundreds of pages of resources materials. There's ebooks and bonus files, and then meal plans and cheat sheets, so you can just basically follow along and take the right supplements and eat the right foods and avoid certain foods that he suggests. And it covers everything from autism to vaccinations to childhood diseases, how long to breastfeed, natural birthing principles, and all kinds of good stuff. And I really wish everyone would get a course like this before they get pregnant, because it's really, really cutting edge, and I feel like it's really going to help Kate and I have a healthier baby. So if you're interested in this, you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/babycode, or you could check it out in our store. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get back to this show.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
All right, we're having a good time here with Professor Brian Peskin, and I just wanted to remind you guys to make sure to check out that Healthy Baby Code. Really, really good course, and we really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
We have it ourselves. Really awesome. So make sure to check that out, and also don't forget to follow us on Facebook too. I'd love to have you join our community and join us that way. That would be a lot of fun to interact with you guys. And today we're having a really good conversation with Professor Brian Peskin, and I wanted to get back a little bit to some of the cardiovascular health issues, but we had a question here from a listener. Stella in New York writes in, "Hi Justin, I was wondering, are fish oils that the Weston A. Price Foundation recommend bad for you also? I eat
Excellent question. They're all bad. Let me give you the quote of Dr. Eric Topol. A big New England Journal of Medicine article came out in May. They looked at 12,000 patients, 860 different practitioners. So it's a very widespread population base, which is what you want. And he is editor-in-chief of Medscape. He's the #1 most influential executive physician in America, 2012. He is also chief of, it's the cardiologist one. It's cardiology.org, whatever the biggest website for cardiologists is on the website. He's the head guy for that too. He said, stop taking fish oil. We can't continue to argue that we didn't give the right dose or the right preparation. It's a nada effect. Yeah, theheart.org is what it is. It is physiologically wrong. And here's the problem. When you look and see how much DHA, EPA gets converted from parent omega-3, okay? Now, there's parent omega-3 in the cell, but like I told you, on average, 11-1. Most tissues have 4-1. More omega-6 parent form than omega-3. The muscles have about 6.5-1. The adipose tissue is the big store where it could be up to 20-1. So parent omega-6, and also in all the blood, the plasma, the esterified cholesterol, it can be up to 100-1 with omega-6. Your body burns up most of the omega-3 it gets. It doesn't want it. When you look at how much of the long-chain metabolites, I call them derivatives, like DHA, EPA, get made from parent omega-3, it is next to nothing. And the mistake the medical profession made is they thought 100% of the parents get converted to the derivatives. So let's give the derivatives like fish oil, be gentle on the body so it doesn't have to do anything, and wah-de-da-de-da. They never understood how little are made. Then they said everybody is genetically impaired. The Delta 6, Delta 5 desaturase, that's what they're technically called, are screwed up in everybody. But the 21st century quantitative analysis shows absolutely incorrect. The National Institutes of Health and the Department of Agriculture, USDA, did incredible experiments where they measured how much your body makes, and they looked at lots of people. There's no impairment in anybody. The body makes very, very little on purpose. Like the average for the brain is 5 milligrams a day.
Wow.
So take a look at how much fish oil, when you figure it out, Justin, 20 to 500 times too much per day. Now, if you're going, what's that translate to? Take 500 aspirins in a day. Don't do it. You're dead. Take 20 aspirins in a day. You're dead. This is what people are doing on a daily basis. And when you put this into the bloodstream, what did I just tell you? It oxidizes immediately.
Yeah.
And if you have enough antioxidants, you are grabbing them from the area that needs it to counter all this fish oil. Now, your brain does have about 14% DHA, EPA. It also has about 10% arachidonic acid, which is the omega-6 side that nobody talks about. But this is over years. The half-life is about 2 years, so this stays there. You don't need new massive overdoses. So in all my medical journal articles, it's a supraphysiologic pharmacologic overdose. Nobody went and asked, how much does your body need in the brain every day? Oh, just take this. What? See, I come from the engineering field where that kind of rationale I can't even fathom.
Yeah, you can't.
If I design a bridge wrong, everybody dies, I should be shot. And that's the kind of accountability an engineer has.
Right.
Well, in the medical field, because the body's so good, most physicians can give you wrong advice, and it takes 10 years before you're in deep trouble because the body can counteract things for a short period of time.
So if
you can't pin it on them.
If someone's
because the body is so good, I'm amazed we don't stop immediately. Put some water in your gasoline because the price of gas is too high. The car sees up within 2 seconds. But we can run on the wrong fuels.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning getting pregnant. PEOs are the critical factor. You have the pregnancy from heaven. The child will have none of the allergies in the skin. any of the immune problems, any of the coughing. It will be the pregnancy from heaven. And also within the first year, cellulite comes on strong, stretch marks get disgusting. This is all PEO deficiency. And if you solve it, remember the baby, nature's cruel. The baby's going to get all your PEOs ripped out, the good ones. You're going to be left with a pile of adulterated garbage. And that's why most women, after a year, they're still exhausted. That is nonsense. That should never happen. You shouldn't have any stretch marks. You shouldn't be gaining weight that's an extra 80 pounds like you see today. None of this nonsense.
Okay, so for pregnancy and things, how much of the PEO would you recommend during pregnancy and after, or is there a difference?
Double the normal amounts. The normal amount of the right PEO formulation is about 3 grams a day.
Okay.
That's it, which is a teaspoon.
Okay, so
for a 160-pound person, a teaspoon. It's that efficient. You don't need tablespoons or massive doses. It's incredible how little you actually need. And those are the kinds of doses. Now, if you're pregnant, 50 to 100% extra because you're feeding the child.
I see.
So you give some extra. That's conservative amount. I'm not talking 20 to 500 times overdose. This is double. That's physiologic. You can live with a double. But that's about all you want to do and all you need to do.
Oh,
but
good.
Back to the cardiovascular disease, cholesterol transports the PEOs. And it was a first hit to stop the adulteration. What you do, you lower the LDL cholesterol because that transports the bad adulterated omega-6. Unfortunately, it's also transporting the good unadulterated parent omega-6.
I see.
So the answer isn't knock down the LDL level. The answer is fix the structure with parent omega-6 coming in.
So that's
by the way, your body has no cholesterol sensor. You go, okay, does it have sensors for other things? Yeah. Sodium, potassium, calcium, within 4% of each other.
Okay.
The big one is blood sugar. You and Kate are within 1/10 of 1%, 1 part in 1,000, unless you're diabetic. And what's the biggest epidemic in the world today? Diabetes. Because of lack of PEOs. Without the PEOs, you are like a human billy goat craving food all the time because nature has no choice. It wants these, and all I can do is make Kate and Justin hungry again and hope like the dickens the next batch of food has them. Nature never thought we were so stupid we would adulterate the most important nutrient on the planet, which is the parent oils, because they're in every cell membrane, to do what we're doing. We're killing ourselves unknowingly.
Okay,
and it's so easy to fix it.
So
not exercise-based. It's not, I can't have some junk food now and then. I can't have a drink now and then. I can't do anything bad. No, you can do a lot of bad stuff as long as your immune system is through the roof. And by the way, the parent omega-6 side makes PGE1, prostaglandin series 1, which is the number one anti-inflammatory your body makes.
Really?
Omega-3 is totally weak. So you get the anti-inflammatory effect from the unadulterated parent omega-6, and it dissolves blood clots. This was known in 1986. Dr. Weiss in Germany saw this. It's been published in cardiovascular, prostaglandins and cardiovascular research in the medical journal books, but the doctors don't have it. It's very under-publicized, unfortunately. So you can dissolve an existing blood clot and make it where you can't get another one. The platelets can't stick together, can't clog up, which is called an occlusion, can't attach to the arterial wall. It gets rid of all this. And if you're asking what's the number one thing in a clogged artery, it's not saturated fat. There's none. When I tell a cardiologist, their mouths drop, because I talk cardiologists all the time. They don't even know there's no saturated fat in a clogged artery. It's 85 to 90% adulterated omega-6. Just what I'm telling you. This is in the medical literature, Justin.
That's amazing. So when someone's taking a fish oil supplement, how many fish do you think are inside each of those supplements?
In a pharmaceutical grade, it takes 17 pounds of fish to make one capsule. Not 100 capsules, not a bottle. One. So in this ultra purified stuff, you are decimating the fish for this stuff, which is awful. And let me tell you, where do you think the whole market for fish oil came from? I'll tell you. They had spoiled, rotten fish. I can't sell to a fine restaurant. So the first thing any industry does is let's sell it to the suckers in the nutrition field because they're desperate for a solution. They'll do anything. Hell, they sell ground up oyster shell and call it chitosan. I mean, it's incredible. That's where it started.
That's crazy.
That's where it started, selling rotten fish to poor people that are desperate.
So
and that's what I get really upset with.
So eating actual fish is not necessarily a problem.
Fish is a whole different food. Number one, it's not processed. Fish oil is a highly processed food. I don't care what you're told, it is. How do you think you're getting the oil out of it? They don't have an oil gland I just grind up. They're juicing the fish. Hey, remember the Bassomatic on a little before your Saturday Night Live with Dan Aykroyd?
I remember that.
Throw a fish in, you get juice out of it. That's what they're doing. Then they have to filter it. They have to throw chemicals on it. It is awful. There's very few that don't have that. But the bottom line is, even if it's perfect, it's physiologically wrong. And that's what I pound the doctors with. It has nothing to do with the purity of the fish oil. You're not a fish living in 30-degree water. It's going to turn rancid the minute you eat it. And you can load it up with antioxidants in the capsule. Although you can prove it's even rancid in the capsule because there is a measure of secondary alkaloids, which is called P-anisodine. It's a test nobody does. The rating's about 19, which is on the borderline of rancid. This is the most pristine fish oil you'll get. It's already 19, so you can prove it. A PEO is about 4. So they're not, peroxide levels tell you nothing.
And on top of that, too, they're probably cooking that oil, too, bringing it to a high temperature as well.
They typically have to distill it, which means you're cooking the heck out of it. It could be for a short period of time, over a lot of time. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you're highly, highly processing this stuff at wicked high temperatures. Could be 250 degrees C, which is, in the 300s Fahrenheit. Oh, you are ruining it.
So,
but again, if you did nothing, it's still going to ruin the minute you eat it in the body. That's what people need to understand. You make this stuff. You don't need the fish oil people telling you, take it because you're impaired. They're killing people. And that's why I get so passionate about this.
What are the good levels? 1 to 1, 2.5 to 1 of omega-3 to 6?
1 to 1 parent. Omega-6 to 3, 1 to 1 to 2.5 to 1 is very, very good. Okay. That's what I recommend. I like about 5 different oils, so the sensitivity level to any one particular oil is minimized. There has to be a natural preservative in there. I like coconut oil to do that. You need some GLA because there's so much inflammation today, and you're going to be talking about cancer later on. Now inflammation is considered the number 1 cause of cancer. Okay. Even Dr. Weinberg, who comes from MIT too, said, we rewrote the textbook. It's not genetic. How many physicians know this? Next to none. You got the BRCA ones with Jolie and all this nonsense doing prophylactic mastectomies. That's beyond insane.
Okay.
They're highly misled. The physicians don't know the statistics. You do not have an 85% chance of getting breast cancer with these genes. That is nonsense. It's conditional probability. They don't understand it, and I give very, very good explanations. Actually, in PEO Solution, this book is for physicians, okay? And they can see it on the website, but it's written for physicians. 2 chapters, chapter 2 and 3, are how do you evaluate a study? Because they have to start understanding it's not, I have 100 that say the fish oil works, and there's only 50 that says it doesn't. 100 minus 50 is 50 plus. We win. Maybe you win a civil court case. You don't win that it works. And by the way, you're acting like there's no science. A study should only confirm the established physiology and biochemistry, not be counter to it. And this is what kills me with the medical profession. They act like there's no science. The study shows. Well, what's predicted based on the science? What? What do you call it? Witchcraft when I fall off the building and I go down to the ground? I call it gravity because I know some physics. What, you think there's a chance you're going to go off towards the sun and beat gravity? Oh, we could. That'd be the medical field. No, there's you do 2 experiments. Justin does one, and then I do one to confirm it. We're done. You move on. What does medicine do? Goes on like a merry-go-round. 20 years later, coffee's bad, now it's good. Salt's bad, now it's good. This is bad, now it's good. They get nowhere. What did the science say to begin with? Regarding salt, it's always been good. I mean, it's incredible. They get nowhere. 20 years from now, everybody's going to look at this fish oil thing and go, how could we have been so stupid? And I'm leading the way.
Yeah,
I'm the biggest mouth against fish oil. according to Dr. Mercola, in the world.
I love it. I love it. And so we're going to take a little short break here, but when we come back, there's a second part to Stella's question too I wanted to get to. And I know,
Sure.
I already know what you're going to say, but she talks about cod liver oil and high vitamin butter oil. So we'll talk about that when we come back. We're with Professor Brian Peskin, and we'll be right back after this short break. So a while back, we had Magda Havas on our website, and she is an expert in EMF radiation and the dangers of cell phones and all of this electromagnetic frequencies that we're being exposed to. If you want to listen to that, you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/25. And it's really profound when you start understanding how great of an impact all of these cell phones and microwaves and cell towers and phone lines, what they're doing to our blood matrix and how they're changing our blood sugar levels and this dirty electricity that runs through our walls and our wiring of our houses. And there's all kinds of electromagnetic pollution that we're being exposed to, and it's having an adverse effect on our health. And just listen to that episode 25 with Magda Havas. And we are very proud to be connected up with a website that sells really great EMF products. It's called Less EMF, and you can find it at extremehealthradio.com/LessEMF, LESSEMF. And that'll redirect you over to their website where you can purchase some great products that will help shield you from these dirty electricity and electromagnetic frequencies. And they have meters, all kinds of different meters that you could test how polluted your house is and your office space is, as well as all kinds of different ways to protect yourself, like computer shields, cell phone shields, grounding mats, things to put over your bed. And they've got lots of great stuff. So we're proud to be connected with them. And in time, we're going to have the owner of this company on our website and talk to him about this stuff. So if you're interested in protecting yourself from EMF, this is the best company we've found online to help you do that. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/LessEMF. And you can check it out in our store as well. And thanks for listening. Let's get back to the show.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
All right, we are having a lively discussion, and I warned you all that Professor Peskin is a fireball. We love it. I warned you all, but he is a great guy and doing some amazing work, some cutting-edge work, and he's the type of individual that we like to have on our show. And
thank God people are passionate about what they talk about. I mean, it's so evident.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many different topics we all need to be enlightened on. It's just fascinating.
Oh, it's so good, and especially with this particular subject. And I want to remind you all to check out that Less EMF website too, because EMFs, we just did a whole show on it recently, and they're just so damaging to the body. So check out that Less EMF site and check that out. And also, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter list, like the lady said. And so at the tail end of that question, Stella wants to know about high vitamin butter oil as well as cod liver oil. So, Professor Peskin, I was wondering what your thoughts were on those two things.
Sure. I can tell you about cod liver oil. There is less DHA and EPA in it.
Okay.
So it is less of a poison.
Less.
Bottom line, you don't need any of it. Your body makes this just fine. And it's even worse. You don't just get an overload of the DHA EPA. You have a complete unbalancing of the omega-6 series side. So you've done nothing because it's the same delta-6, delta-5 desaturase enzymes with the omega-6. So you've completely neglected them, which are the most important. The omega-6 side, I just told you, makes prostaglandin 1, which is the biggest anti-inflammatory on the planet. So people with arthritic conditions, any kind of cardiovascular conditions, any kind of inflammation, phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It also makes prostacyclin, which is PGI2, comes from arachidonic acid, the omega-6 series. Makes it where the blood cannot clot together, can't stick to an artery, and oxygenates. And if you take fish oil, you stop prostaglandin production in the arterial wall. You get faster blood flow. This was the bleeding problem with surgery, where they tell you to stop taking this fish oil. But you get extra clotting on the wall. So it's a two-edged sword. In my new book, I talk about this. You don't need the stuff, bottom line.
Okay.
They don't understand this.
So what about the
now,
butter
egg
oil?
is real good in general over there, but they don't understand this. Nobody in the world does. And if people pull up my website, and the way you spell it, it's B as in boy, RIAN, P as in park, ESKIN.com. Just put it all together. Pull up PEO solution, click on it. You can read all about fish oil. You get the actual chapter that's going to be in PEO solution free.
Oh, good.
There's 26 inconvenient truths about fish oil people haven't seen. You get that, and you get all the scientific support, too. There's 2 separate files. It's big font, easy to read, and we give a PEO solution analysis for anything technical. So I guarantee you will understand it. But you have to care. And most people just don't care, and they go, fish oil works. We all know it does. Well, if you want to think that, don't call me 5 years from now when you're having a heart attack.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what about the butter oil and things like that?
I forget what it is. I've heard of it. What is it?
It's a it's a super concentration, I guess, of the butter when the
butter
cows
won't
are
have
eating.
enough of the omega-3 series in it. It'll have monounsaturated. It'll have some saturated. You don't need it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with organic butter. I eat it all the time. But once again, not the right stuff for what you need.
Okay, I had
You
another.
need the PEOs, and pull up my website. There's all kinds of information. It tells you what you need. It won't cost you a penny, and it's there.
Okay.
And if people have a question, they can email me. Right now I can answer them. Come the first of the year, I probably won't have much time. But right now I do answer most questions that do come in.
Okay, so now I have another question about the. We had a doctor on about, I'd say 5 or 6 months ago, and you're probably familiar with him, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, and he's a vegetarian, but he's doing most of his work in heart disease. And he said that something very interesting, that he said that when you eat animal products, it actually damages the endothelial tissue, and then it prevents the epithelial cells from getting rid of the artery that's in the plaque that's in the artery. And he said that happens as a result of eating animal food. And I thought that was just kind of interesting. I have no idea.
It's absolute garbage. I am a hardcore carnivore. My arterial health is 20 years younger, okay?
Wow.
Dr. Rowan is near Raw Foods Vegan, okay? He's 20 years younger, too. As long as you get the PEOs, what I've proved over many years, you can eat all the animal-based protein you want. That is not the issue. Do you need to eat a ton of it? I was doing 1.5 pounds a day for an experiment for 2 years. No,
Wow.
I don't like knocking off the animals. You don't need that amount at all. So Dr. Rowan has really given me some great science about cutting back the protein levels and how much you really do need.
Okay.
And very, very good. So you need much less. But protein in and of itself, no issue. Saturated fat in and of itself, no issue whatsoever. They make this stuff up quite literally. They can do a study outside the body that has no relevance whatsoever inside the body. It's called in vivo versus in vitro. Most of the drugs, by the way, that work outside the body completely fail inside. And that's why they get canned on phase 3 trials. It's the same thing. You better be very, very careful on your analysis. For example, cooking things over charcoal. Oh, it makes all these cancer-causing compounds. Well, except when it's in the body, they all get neutralized. Next issue. And that's proven. I mean, even Harvard said this. You know, most of what you hear is nonsense.
That's interesting.
So if people want the hardcore science, hit my website. I don't sell products. Companies pay me for the science to make products based on the science. And I follow the science. I'm the only one that pays my own way, and I follow the science. And I publish articles when they're required. I probably have 3 main ones now. Hopefully it'll be up to 5 with these 2 new journal ones. And you don't want somebody publishing hundreds of things. Publishing has become an end in itself. Most of the articles aren't worth the paper they're printed on. And even the head of the New England Journal of Medicine, the physician's a woman, quit. She got so sick of it, said no more than 10% of what we get are worthy of publication, but we have to put out an issue every month, so we're publishing garbage.
Oh, my God.
This is the top medical journal in America, New England Journal of Medicine.
Wow, that's amazing. So what about
It's that bad.
What about people that
most of the articles they can't reproduce? They don't care. There's no inducement to go, or what you're saying is what you're saying even right? There's no inducement for somebody to go back and prove right or wrong. We're on to the next thing.
So now,
I'm the only one in the field, Justin, that has stayed in the same field for 15 years.
That's amazing.
Hair and essential oils, that's all I do. When I get asked to talk about something else, my answer is no. I don't talk about other things, and I'm not going to. Find someone else. I talk about this, I stay with this, and I've never been shown wrong in 15 years. Show me anybody else in the medical field.
Yeah.
And I lead the pack. I'm always contra to whatever. I was the first one coming out, fiber fiction. On theoretical grounds, eating the most fiber, you have to have the most colon cancer. You do. That was published, Lancet, New England Journal of Medicine, in 2000. Now they threw that in the ash can and are telling you to eat fiber again. But it's not based on science. It is sinful what's happening, and the average person doesn't stand a chance.
So what about people that want to do exercise and they want to try to, if they eat really bad and they try to exercise for cardiovascular health?
It's not going to help them.
Yeah.
That's why athletes get heart attacks all the time. It will do a few things. It increases the stroke of the heart, the volume of the heart, and the width of the artery. So you can postpone things. It's still going to get you.
But still, you're producing so much
Think
lactic
about it.
acid, right?
Exercise cannot solve a nutritional deficiency. Think about that. You can't exercise away a nutritional deficiency. It's a separate category. Now, I love the gym. I used to train with Leela Brody, came in second in the Olympia. I trained with Samir Bannout. He beat Schwarzenegger one year. So he won the Olympia. So I like it. And if you really want to, build muscle, you have to overload it. So I like it. The aerobics part, big problems with that. It actually can make you worse with long endurance running. Very, very negative. So the science can even go into this. But the PEOs, we have tons of professional athletes taking this. 25% faster recuperation, 20 to 25% more endurance, which means I can push more weight before I fail. And you don't get the acid burn.
Wow. So it'd be good for athletes as well and everything.
We have pro football, pro golfers, pro everything.
Wow.
Huge amounts, especially in the UK.
So so PEOs help for a wide variety of topics. I mean,
Oxygenators, man.
We're focused mainly on cardiovascular health in this, but it helps with cancer, arthritis, or diabetes, right? Tons of different things. Everything.
And if you think about it, it's so fundamental, it has to. People always go, so you got the fountain of youth and the... Well, it's fundamental. They're in every cell. One I expect if you have a deficiency that you'd have a lot of problems. I may not know what they are, but I'd expect there to be a heck of a lot of problems. And then when you go through and see what they affect, but if they pull up PEO solution, there's a hyphen between it. So it's PEO-solution.com. They can see the cover, and in that cover are all the metabolic pathways this hits on one page. It's unbelievable. Furthermore, your skin. There's no omega-3 in the skin. So whenever I see this, I start laughing like heck. Fish oil gave me smoother skin. How? There's none of it in there. Actually, it'll give you skin cancer, genius, because it gets shoved into the skin when you shouldn't have any. It's all parent omega-6. Sun hits that skin. Now instead of 100 degrees, Justin, you banged it up to 110. Spontaneous oxidation. Skin cancer is through the roof. The dermatologists don't have a clue what the heck to do about it. Everybody's minimizing the sun. Everybody's putting on long sleeve shirts, staying out of it, sunscreen. Why the heck does it keep increasing? So I correlated the rise in fish oil sales to the rise in skin cancer everywhere. And the most consuming fish oil country in the world has got the most prostate cancer. This just came out a month ago. Medical community went insane with fish oil causing prostate cancer. It's Australia. You'd never guess. When you look and see the probability you're going to get prostate cancer, number one in the world, they're the number one fish oil consuming country in the world by population.
So if someone wants to...
I can predict it.
So if someone really wants to prevent heart attacks and things, you would recommend getting on some of these parent essential oils.
There's no other way around it. If you don't have a heart attack, somehow you're getting the right oils. It's that simple. You got to be.
So
you need these yesterday.
What do you think about vitamin E for the heart? Is that good?
It fails in all the clinical trials. No, and typically, unless you're, number one, getting organic. They never used to have organic. It was a waste product of the petroleum industry. So it is more adulterated oil. Vitamin E is always in an oil. So you're taking an adulterated oil that gives you a heart attack.
That's interesting.
It's natural preservative. It's a natural antioxidant. Do you need it? No, you need the PEOs.
So do the PEOs have an effect inside the arteries in terms of getting rid of the cholesterol that could be building up?
It's not it's the oxidized cholesterol that gets built up. Yes.
Oxidized. Okay.
This is what's known. It's all the oxidized cholesterol. So the question is, where the heck is the oxidation coming from? It's not inside the body. I was the first to really, really nail it. The oxidized cholesterol comes from the food processors. You're ingesting it already ruined with the parent omega-6. And that's 85 to 90% of the buildup in the artery is the adulterated parent omega-6. So yes, it can be dissolved easily with the parent oils.
So it's interesting how. Do you find any correlation?
Pretty good
with Do you see any nanobacteria calcium in the arteries of people that?
Well, calcification of the plaque is the last stage of heart disease. So I tell all these poor women 15 years ago, don't ever, ever, ever touch calcium. You don't need it. It's in all the foods. Yeah, it's called calcification of the plaque. It's the last stage of a heart attack. Great job. And now it's all in all the medical journals how calcium is bad.
Wow.
I had this 15 years ago.
So you really want to get on to this PEO and the parent essential oils. And so these things...
Fundamental. That's the answer for everything. You start there because it's so fundamental. And then if you have any other problems this doesn't fix, there may be some. But my job is to take care of 99% of the population. This doesn't. And the only thing they need.
So these oils are found in things like...
in seeds and nuts. Like evening primrose oil, pumpkin seeds, safflower, sunflower, those kind of oils.
Okay.
And you want a combination. They have to be organic. If they're not organic, forget it. Now you're into the realm of taking something that's going to give you a heart attack and cause cancer in what you're taking to prevent it. That's beyond stupid. They have to be organic, they have to be unprocessed, they have to be unadulterated, and they have to have the right parent omega-6-3 ratio for a supplement. Now, you're eating food. This isn't something you live on with just taking the oil. So I formulate things as a supplement. And if you do it right and you go through all the science, you need 3 grams a day for 160 pounds. That's it. And it's by weight because this, unlike most other things, is actually incorporated into the cell. It makes it. And you need it on a daily basis because they're not good forever in the cell.
Wow.
And you're eating a lot of junk. And it gets incorporated into the tissues and organs as a percentage of what you eat. Meaning, if I eat 50% junk, I have a cell membrane that's 50% screwed. And guess what? There's the 35% oxygen deprivation, isn't there?
Wow.
And most people today are eating at least 50% junk, at least. And you can tell margarine doesn't have oxygen transfer, put it out in the garage, leave it for a year, come back. There won't be any mold growing on it. There won't be any fungus. There won't be any bacteria. No animal will eat it. Mm-hmm. It's just as good as you had it because it's basically plastic. Mm-hmm. And if you think that's okay to have in your cell membrane, you're hopeless. I mean, I can only do so much.
And then comes the oxygen transfer issue, which is related to
cancer. You're going
to
get cancer.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not 40%. They lie to you. 73% of men get cancer. 50% of women get it. 70% of men, 53% of women. The average person's going to get cancer. And my comment would be, I'm amazed we all don't get it unless you're taking these oils. How could you not get it? But it's not 40%. 70% men, 53% women. That means everybody's getting it. You are as common as dirt if you get cancer. There's nothing special about you. You're as common as heck. And if you've ever wondered, cancer and heart disease are number 1 and 2 or number 2 and 1. They're the same problem, the oxygen transfer, caused by the adulteration of the omega-6. So I was the first in the world to put the two together. Everybody else, all the doctors would say, cancer and heart disease, there's no correlation. Well, cancer patients get a higher problem due to death from cardiovascular disease, but outside of that, they typically go no correlation getting the disease. There's a complete correlation. It's in the esterified cholesterol. So it's very gutsy science, and I try and distill it. So that's what I hope people will check out my website and look at PEO Solution. It's really cool. Notice it's solution. I have to tell you the problem, but I also have to give you the solution. Just saying here's the problem is worthless. Everybody needs to know how the heck do I solve it. So I can do both. Tell you the problem, why it's a problem, which is only due to food processors. If we didn't have food processing, you wouldn't be interviewing me. I'm not needed. I'm only needed because of the stupidity of Americans. Right. And then the rest of the world listens to us thinking we know more than they do, and we screw up everybody when it comes to their health.
So I know that a lot of people that are listening to this are thinking, all right, how do I get these PEOs? And I know that you don't really recommend specific companies, but... I
can't. Number one, it's illegal because I taught disease prevention, so I can't tell you disease prevention and get this. So if people want to know exactly what I do, they can certainly hit my website and send me an email, and I can tell you exactly what I do myself. And I'm allowed to do that.
Oh, cool.
You're allowed to do that, but just not on the air.
But you have to get the right ratios. They have to be organic. Yeah, I mean, there's definite guidelines. And you can go to the health food store and blend it yourself. It's hard to do. They've changed all the oil strains now for frying. Mm-hmm. So there's a pile of omega-9, which is oleic acid. Omega-9 is not an EFA. So people go, oh, yeah, olive oil is loaded with EFAs. In your dreams it is. It's about 7%. It's 93% non-essentials. So olive oil is a 0. It won't harm you like a trans fat, but it won't help you at all. Okay. So there's lack of a negative. Is that a big deal? Sure. I'd rather be at a 0 compared to a trans fat, which is negative 20. So again, I have the field of life system science engineering, and we look at two things. How good is something for you, and how bad is something for you, not if you don't take it. So there's two edges, but lack of a negative is not a positive.
I see. Wow. So you are just doing some awesome work.
This isn't for amateurs.
So PEO,
if I didn't have the engineering background, I could never do this because I would have started where all the doctors do too. It's all genetic.
So PEO Solution comes out in a couple months, right?
It's probably going to be the first of the year.
Okay.
I had 2 journal articles that knocked me back 6 weeks because these go to physicians directly. I had to be meticulous, so it knocked me back 6 weeks. But people can right now see the fish oil one. That's the biggest thing on why this stuff is a poison.
Okay, this is excellent stuff. Don't forget to check out.
At the end of the year, it will be out, and we uniquely have a lot on the internet too. So a lot of support is on the internet. So if people go, I really want more information in this area, boom, Dr. Rowan will have 30 pages of how to be the perfect vegetarian because most vegetarians completely screw it up. They're sick as heck, they're exhausted, and a lot of them are fat too. And he'll tell you exactly how you do it right because he is in incredible shape. Before meeting him, I never knew you could have a healthy vegetarian. I didn't think it was possible. He showed me wrong, and then I figured out exactly what you have to do. And we've got something that's the biggest boon for diabetics in the world with fruit and protein and why fruit is different carbohydrate-wise. The whole medical profession is going to fall off of their chair when they see this because even the diabetic physicians don't know this.
Wow.
So everybody's going to get the state-of-the-art stuff that the doctors see. So we've already got, I think, 3,000 books pre-sold so far.
Oh, my God.
Wow, that's so great. Thank you so much.
Before it even hits.
Professor, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing all your great work.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. And get those PEOs if you want to be pregnant.
We love it.
Absolutely.
Send me an email after the show. It's critical. You won't believe the difference.
Okay.
All right. I warned everyone, didn't I?
You warned me and I didn't believe it. I love him. He is a fireball.
I told everyone this guy's a fireball.
Wow.
And he's really passionate about his work. And as you could tell, it was tough to get questions in, but...
That's exactly who you want talking to you about that kind of stuff, though. My gosh, he knows everything.
Someone who actually cares about what they're doing.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, he is really, really interesting guy. We spoke to him at length off the air, and we found, due to confidentiality clauses and things, he can't recommend any, what do you call it, places to get these PEOs, but he told us off the air, and so we'll be posting that on our site too. And we're going to take these ourselves first and see what we think about them, and then if we like them, we're going to start promoting them on the website as well. So if you want to find out these PEOs that he's talking about, email us and we'll let you know. And eventually, if we like them, they'll be on our website to buy, and you can buy them through us.
Yeah.
Or you can email him as well, Brian Peskin at brianpeskin.com. He's
great.
guy,
I'm still smiling. I'm laughing at his fish. Look in the mirror if you don't have gills.
If you look in
You're
the
not
mirror,
a fish. Stay away from it.
If you don't live in 30-degree water.
Yeah. He cracks me up.
He's funny. I love him.
Man, what a knowledgeable man.
Yeah, he is really, really good. So hopefully you guys got a lot of beneficial information out of this. We barely scratched the surface with him. I had a ton of questions. I wanted to talk about the low-carb diet. Potentially, I'd like to get him back on and talk about cancer.
Oh, yeah.
Because these PEOs relate to cancer as well. But there's so many things that we barely even touched on. Don't forget to check out The Hidden Story of Cancer, his book, and the 24-hour diet, and the PEO solution, all at brianpeskin.com. Or you can pick those up on this show page if you want to support us, extremehealthradio.com/140. And if you have any questions about what he was saying, if you're kind of question what he said or whatever, you can just leave a message, comment on this show page, 140, and you can join the community there and talk about what he said. Wow.
Whew.
He was just a fireball. I love him.
I love him.
Yeah, he's really good. Don't forget to check out our upcoming show schedule. Got lots of great guests coming up. And if you could do us a favor, it would be really, really beneficial if you guys could pass this link on. If you know of anyone who's taking fish oils, or if you have a lot of Facebook fans or Facebook friends or a big Twitter following, or maybe just send it on by email to your parents or to people you love. If you could
carrier pigeons.
Or carrier pigeon.
Banner in the sky. Skywriting.
Smoke signals.
Smoke signals.
But if you could, that would be a really great way to support us, because I know that a lot of people can't buy or donate through us. So if you could just pass the show along, that would be a huge way to support our work. And so that's basically about it.
Whew.
Yeah.
My mind is reeling right now.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. I think it's time for me to go make a green smoothie.
Yes. I'm going to go on a walk and
love it.
Peace out.
I love it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information on this podcast or in this blog, or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment or cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be construed as such. Always work with a qualified health practitioner or professional before